Morning coffee.
Friday.
Whoa.
Good morning.
Fridays. Good morning. You know, Fridays are my favorite day for many different reasons, but the big reason why is because it's Agent Spotlight Day, and we get to highlight some incredible people every Friday. And today's guests continue that trend. Dylan and Taylor Foley, welcome to Morning Coffee and Agent Spotlight. Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
And so I know Jeremy has had the luxury of spending a lot of time with the both of you, and I'm getting to know both of you. And I want to give a real shout out to Dylan right now, and you, of course, Taylor. But I always see Dylan's name, and I don't get to see his face on my little squares on the Zoom calls. But you know, and why I want to single him out is because he's a full-time sheriff, and he will have it on his phone. He's like, sorry, I can't talk. It's only, there's no audio. So I'm asking the question, he's typing it. So I appreciate that, the level of commitment that both of you have to one, your career, and two, your family, and making real estate work. So my first question is to the both of you, Dylan, Taylor, how do you do that? You have full-time sheriff, full-time mom, and full-time real estate agents.
Honestly, I think the reason it works is because there's two of us. So like any gaps that we have, whether it's he's working and we have appointments during the week, or I have the kids and I have nowhere to go with them, I have to keep them, he can fill in. Like we just fill in each other's gaps. Sounds a little weird, but
in all ways, Jeremy, in all ways.
but that we basically, like, this would not
you're making me blush.
I love it.
But that's the only reason this works is because, like,
we back each other up.
We back each other up. And like Dylan wanted to dive into this years ago, and he's always been itching to give it a go. And a few years ago, I also decided to stay home with our kids, and it just didn't seem like we could make this work. But somehow, with a lot of like organization, a lot of like time management, sort of, and again, sleep and no coffee, we're making it happen.
It's pretty amazing.
It's a true partnership that you have.
Yeah.
Business and personal. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we've talked about this in the pre-show before we started recording, is that, you know, Agent Spotlight is truly about the people. It's, you know, we're very fortunate that we get to know you two through real estate, but it's who you are as humans that I love. You know, and he's right. I got to do discs with you, and I got to sit in, and I can remember the very first time we sat down where it was like, I don't even know what's going to happen. Like, I don't even know how this is going to work. And here we are, several transactions in, several transactions coming. Like you guys have what we call, you guys have picked up this momentum, right? 3 and then 3 more and another one coming and an offer out. And so, I mean, we're talking through this midst of a pandemic, my man is on the front lines of first responder calls. And, you know, here you are. I mean, I know we've sat on several calls together, Tay, where the kid's on the lap, and you know what I mean? Like everything's going, and you're trying to. So I mean, I know you guys kind of answered the question of how do you do it, but what drives you? What is that? What is that thing that manifests 6, 7, 8 transactions in the midst of a pandemic? And I will give you both. You both have full-time jobs that aren't real estate, because a mom at home is a full-time job. Let's be clear. How do you do it? I mean, not just how do you do it, but what's the drive behind it? Like what can people grab onto to say, hey, like what drives you each individually to get there?
Yeah, you know.
I'd say it's probably a fusion of a couple things. We got into real estate for 2 big reasons. One was to like advance our family life, and then the second was to create options for me career-wise. I'll be frank, it's a sucky time to be in law enforcement. I've been doing it 10 years. It had I had problems with it before even all the pandemic and the rioting and everything was going on. But I know that and I love my day-to-day job. Don't get me wrong. I love being a cop. I love helping people. The gripes I have go more beyond my daily duties. It's the system kind of as a whole. But when I had my son, my first son, I'm sitting there looking at him and I'm like, I was like, he's not going to grow up without a dad because dad wanted to play dangerous whack-a-mole. That's how I can describe law enforcement right now. It's whack-a-mole. It's like it's just never ending. They're back out, they're back out, they're back out. So I was like, we need answers. We need other solutions. And so, but I was like, I can't do this alone being a full-time career. So I was asking her, hey, will you do it with me?
Yeah. And honestly, it's provided the best of both worlds because like I had an office job before this. I didn't want to go back to a typical office job where I'd be basically leaving my kids 9 to 5 every single day. And so, yes, things are crazy. I have multiple phone calls with like literally 2 kids behind me, but thank God for earphones. Thank God for all of that because we're making it work. And I think the flexibility is why like we enjoy it so much, even though it's kind of like nonstop. It's also, you're able to kind of like tailor your schedule to fit your actual life, which is what works.
I tried to sell it, or like, hey, you can work from home, you go look at nice houses.
Yeah, he did. He sold it just like that.
But
love it.
So and then also too, being like with her stay-at-home mom, like we both chose for her to take on that role. Like that to us, that's the most important job she could ever have is being mom. And but we knew like, hey, we have a little 2-bed, 1-bath house. Now we got 2 boys. Like there's a ceiling here financially that on a single income, it would take decades for us to save, move another house. And so we're like, hey, real estate would be our answer to accelerate that. And
without giving up his desire to stay home too.
Yeah. That, hey, we're our own bosses. So we give it 100% of what we got. And we're not, that's why we didn't join another team. When we joined, we stuck with ourselves because we know like other teams, they're businesses and they expect, hey, I need people here, this. And we don't know if we can, our schedule, our dynamic, if we could offer that, but we know what we could do ourselves. So we stuck together and took it that way.
So let me, and what I heard is that you have a schedule. I mean, one of the things I heard is you have a schedule. So you, Dylan, full-time cop, Taylor, your mom, and I look inside and my wife is running around chasing our boys. So I get it. And how do you structure your day? Because you guys are both having some nice success and you work hard. And that takes focus.
Yeah.
So tell us how your day's structured.
Well, here, I'll let you.
So
or how you find the time to make real estate work.
To get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Dylan right now, he works Monday through Friday at his job, and he's gone basically every single day. He doesn't get home till 6 p.m. So 90% of phone calls that need to be made, like appointments, just follow-up emails, all that I'm handling. Typically, like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll do emails, we'll check in with our clients and see what things actually need to get done right then and there. And I'll handle kind of like all of the to-dos, like appointments, inspections, whatever, all of that. Dylan does a lot, since most of our database is from his work, he does check-ins, kind of when he gets free chances. So he'll send messages, he'll do calls, just kind of squeeze them in here and there. But, he has, on his drives home, he makes his follow-up calls. So we have that, that portion of the business is taken care of. And I'm basically handling like everything else. Thank God for like nap time. Thank God for, our babysitters. Thank God for all of that. And,
yes,
we get those, instead of having, a full work day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., we just squeeze in, like we said back in the day, Jeremy, in that book, the one thing you get a little time, was it the one thing where you squeeze in as much work as you can and just work?
I would say it's not so much like a daily. Well, it is a daily routine on her end. So I guess the best description is more like the roles that we've tasked each other with. Is that like an analogy I give is like I'm the fishing net. I find the fish, I get the leads. I'm at work. I have my CRM software, it gives me like a virtual number so I can send texts and make calls from it. So I'm at work, and just like the training classes we came to, doing the database, like every week, new letter groups, I'm up here, I'm sending text messages, you know, while I'm at work. I'm like, you know, on a break, send out some messages,
Speaking my language.
you know, get some texts. Here comes some texts, and it comes back, and you know, so I'm making the calls, I'm making the texts, I'm having the conversations at work. So I find the leads once we have like a hot, ready client. Then Taylor does, by and large, majority of the transactional aspect of it.
Awesome.
But we bounce back and forth though, and we cover each other, because sometimes, me being Ventura County, a lot of these guys that we're doing they live in Thousand Oaks or Simi Valley or whatever. So it's a far drive for her to pack up both kids and go over there. So sometimes it's like, hey, schedule the showing at 5:30, and as soon as I'm off work, I'm going straight from work to a showing, and I'm, you know, doing this and that, and as I'm driving home, I'm making calls. I mean, so I'm nonstop lead generation. And then once we have clients and transactions, she comes in on the back end and does the majority of like the heavy lifting, because I'm stuck at work. You know, there's not, it's hard to do an appointment at, you know, 1 p.m. or something when I'm not at work.
That is such a brilliant, like, I hope, again, what we want when we spotlight, we want people who are watching this to get the action items, right? So what you just said is basically we have a team, we're communicating, and we understand our roles, clarity of roles. I am the lead generator. She is she's the transactional piece.
That's what I wrote down.
Right?
Defined roles.
Beautiful. And every team should have that. Even if you're a solo agent, right?
Yeah.
Even if you weren't a team like you are, the solo agent that's watching this can say, I'm doing this. I need to have that transaction coordinator. I need to have that person, right? And one of the things you said earlier, and I want people to not miss this because you glossed over it, because it's something that you guys do very well, is you said, we give 100% of what we have. So in each moment, right? When it's time to be transactional Taylor, I'm giving 100%. When it's time to be Sheriff Dylan, you can't afford to not give 100%. Right. You cannot afford to be not 100%, right, aware of what's going on in each and every one of those moments. You can't afford to slip, because it's life and death a lot of times. Yeah. And but you guys understanding that, so when you do come into 100% Realtor Dylan, right? I got to go show houses. Then I leave the job and I change my clothes and I get out of my superhero outfit and I go into my civilian and I go be 100%. And
it's an on-off switch. Just, I'm doing this right now. Okay, turn that off. I'm doing this one. And it's just, but I can't be half in everything. It's all into one.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, is that people who are in the business 10, 15, 20 years are still trying to figure out defined roles for their team. They try to wear too many hats, and in a short amount of time that you have been professional real estate agents, you've figured that out. And it's no surprise to me from my perspective of why y'all are on the trajectory that you're on. So keep it up. You guys are amazing real estate agents, but even better people. And thank you for being committed to everything that you do and giving 100% in what you do. You guys have a beautiful family. I love seeing the Facebook and posts, like, keep them coming. So I just want to say big ups to you guys. Cheers to the Foley team. Oh, what is it? Fully loaded? Fully loaded.
Fully loaded. Fully loaded homes, baby. Fully loaded homes, man. We're super proud of you. Thank you guys, man. I mean, like, really, we are super, super proud of what you guys have accomplished and where you're going. And please know that, you know, we just want to be on the journey with you. So, I mean, cheers to you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks
cheers,
for doing
guys.
what you're doing. All right, guys.
Enjoy.
Awesome.